What's up, guys? I'm Chris Spags here, back with another Four Corners video for today's 13-game MLB slate, courtesy of Awesemo.com. Now, we always preach the importance of stacks and building lineups in daily fantasy sports to help increase the correlation between the players you have in your lineups. So here's a special little guessing game for you right now. Like this video right now, and leave a comment down below giving me a guess as to which two teammates are going to hit a home run today. This is a very hard thing for you guys to do, but there's 13 games today, a very lucky number. So somebody out there, some team is going to have two guys who hit 2 home runs. So like this video and give me your guess as to which two teammates hit a home run down below in the comments. The first corner I would have hit on the top pitching options industry-wide, and Noah Syndergaard going against San Diego is going to be a top-owned option everywhere. He's going to be 41% on DraftKings, 27% on FanDuel, and 50% on Yahoo, according to our ownership projections at Awesemo.com. San Diego's got a 27.1% K rate versus right-hand pitching, and the pitcher's park also should benefit Noah Syndergaard. He's been perfectly fine this season with a 3.4 xFIP, 11.9% swing strike rate, at 10.3 Ks per 9. He's been good. It should be a situation where things get better here versus San Diego in a pitcher's park. I like Syndergaard here, even though the ownership is going to be pretty onerous on him in every single site you're playing on today. John Lester going against Miami gets 2.8 implied runs against him, which is the lowest number on today's slate. Miami's hitting 223 with a 63 WRC plus and a 103 ISO versus left-hand pitching so far in 2019. And Lester hasn't missed bats well this year with an 8.7% swing strike rate, but his 9.3 Ks per 9 and 0.96 whip have shown decent, but maybe unsustainable results. In Miami, not very good. Cole Hamels didn't have a great day yesterday, but was good enough here. John Lester, not a bad price, going to be less owned than Syndergaard. I don't mind him today, even though, again, the results do seem a bit unsustainable so far this year. Colin McHugh going against Kansas City gets 3.6 implied runs against him. He's also getting a KC lineup that's projected with a 24% aggregate K rate. McHugh's been decent on the year with 9.2 Ks per 9 and a 105 whip. He also has a solid price here, but he does feel riskier than Garrett Cole yesterday. And Garrett Cole did give up 4 runs to this Kansas City lineup. I think McHugh is a fine play, though. It wouldn't shock me if Kansas City got to him. I don't mind him today, but if he's going to be very highly owned, I might be inclined to try to find value elsewhere. The next corner I want to hit are the top stacks on today's slate, and a Boston stack going against David Hess is going to be a popular one. They get 5.8 implied runs against them, and Hess hasn't missed bats this year with a 7% swinging strike rate and a 6.3% home run rate allowed on the year, which is about double what league average is. The Boston stack struggled versus the John Means buzzsaw yesterday, which hurt me inside, but did make me feel like a bit of a proud papa. But there are multiple ways to stack this Red Sox lineup today, with Jackie Bradley Jr., the only guy who's hitting really badly so far this year in the lineup. It's a good spot here versus Hess. Hess not missing bats. John Means yesterday did miss bats, so there was some risk. We saw the downside for Boston. I think today we're going to see the upside, the potential they have, because on the slate, they're as bad of a good hitting team as you can find. Colorado stack going against Madison Bumgarner also looks pretty good. They get 5.6 implied runs in their favor, and Bumgarner has allowed 43% hard contact, which can be very dangerous in Coors with how the balls can fly out of the park there. Trevor Story and Nolan Arenado are by far the most attractive pieces here. Both guys have over a 315 ISO versus left-hand pitching. I like the spot here for those guys. The rest of the stack doesn't look that great, so it might be a situation here to go with a mini stack versus Bumgarner, but it's a good spot here for somebody in Colorado, and Story and Arenado are definitely the two guys I like the most if you are going to be willing to pay a premium. A Houston stack versus Danny Duffy also looks pretty good with 5.9 implied runs for them, which is the highest total on today's slate. Duffy hasn't been bad so far in a limited 2019 sample size with an 11.3% swing strike rate and a 2.2% home run rate, but he does seem due for some regression. Michael Brantley is the only player in the top 7 who looks unappealing due to the high price and lefty-lefty matchup. Everybody else in this Houston lineup looks really good, and one guy looks particularly good, who I'll talk about later in the one-offs. The next corner I want to hit are the lower-owned options on today's slate, and Caleb Smith going against the Chicago Cubs fits that criteria. He gets 3.7 implied runs against him today, but a 16.8% swinging strike rate and his 11.3% K per 9 are both elite numbers in 2019. Chris Bryant, Anthony Rizzo, Wilson Contreras, David Bodie, John Lester all strike out above league average, and Smith's going to be low owned, so I think he's a pivot to some of the higher owned guys out there. Not going to have a lot of people on him, and he does have a ton of potential here, even though this Cubs lineup obviously a lot more dangerous, as well as not pitching in Miami. A San Francisco stack versus Antonio Senzatella is also coming up a lot for me. They get 4.9 implied runs for them in Coors, and Senzatella's 6.8% swing strike rate in 2019 is amongst the worst in the league. San Francisco's been brutal versus right-hand pitching with a 214 batting average and 278 on base percentage. And they also currently have a guy with a negative 30 WRC plus hitting in the number 2 hole in Mike Gerber, but it's Coors and the prices are reasonable, so I don't mind going to these Giants here. Spot here versus Senzatella. Senzatella, not a good pitcher. I think the spot here for San Francisco is about as good as you can get, and they did show they can hit in a positive hitting environment. They did it over the weekend versus Cincinnati, so there is some hope there for him. Steven Strasburg at Milwaukee is another higher price pitcher that I would want to look at today. Gets 4.1 implied runs against him, which is not great, but Strasburg's stuff has been filthy this year with a 15.1% swing strike rate and 11.6 Ks per 9. Milwaukee is dangerous power, but they strike out at a 26.5% rate versus right-hand pitching. I think you can make a case here for both the stack of Milwaukee and Strasburg. Both guys seem appealing in different ways. Milwaukee can certainly get to Strasburg. Strasburg can certainly strike out Milwaukee. So I'm going to have some exposure to both sides here, and I think both sides are going to be under-owned. A Minnesota stack versus Aaron Sanchez also looks pretty good to me with 4.9 applied runs in their favor. Sanchez has an 8% swinging strike rate and a 5.3 xFIP this season. Neither number is that good. And Sanchez hasn't been very home run prone with a 2.2% home run rate going back to last year. But Minnesota's decently priced with a 236 ISO versus right-hand pitching. They're a good hitting team. They've They've hit really well in the air. Sanchez is a guy who's not great, not missing bats terribly well, so I think it's a good spot to go to them and hope they can get decent results. The next corner I want to hit under the one-offs I like the most on today's slate, and Bryce Harper going against Dakota Hudson's a guy who jumps out to me. Hudson has a 2.4 whip and a 5.5% home run rate to lefties, while Harper remains cheap, and he has a 247 ISO versus right-hand pitching going back to last year. It's a good spot here for Harper versus a guy in Hudson who has shown in a pretty decent sample size that he's not very good versus left-hand. Harper, a guy who can hit it out of the park. He hasn't done it a lot this year, but so his price is pretty reasonable. I think it's a good combination for him to get back on track today. Nolan Arenado going against Madison Bumgarner is also a one-off I like a lot today. He's a big-time pay-up option, but he's got a lot of upside with 397 ISO versus left-hand pitching and under 10% ownership expected industry-wide. So he's going to be low-owned. He's got a ton of potential. You're paying up for him, but the hope is that he gives you big numbers here versus Bumgarner, a guy who's projected to give up some production today. And Jose Altuve versus Danny Duffy is a guy I alluded to before. He's priced down on DraftKings despite a good matchup versus Duffy and a 296 batting average, along with a 134 WRC plus versus left-hand pitching. Altuve is a steady part of that lineup. He's going to be on base. He's probably going to get driven in by some guys in there. He also has home run power. It's a good situation all around versus Danny Duffy, a guy who seems due for some negative regression. So that's everything I'm seeing right now in today's slate. So like this video right now and give me your guess down below for which two teammates are going to hit a home run today. It's a tough game, but stacks are an important part of building your lineup here in DFS. So like this video right now and leave that comment with your teammates who are going to hit a home run down below. And use the promo code SWITCHANDHEDGE for half off your first month of any package at Awesemo.com. We have Fantasy Cruncher Pro as part of our options right now on the site, so go check it out. It's a big innovation in the development of optimizers out there. A lot of things you can do to help look back at lineups. Fantasy Cruncher's Rewind is a lot more valuable tool now. You can see how lineups would have actually done in tournaments. The lineup study tool also helps you see what other top players are playing in a slate. A lot of different ways you can attack things, research things, get better at DFS. So use that promo code SWITCHANDHEDGE right now to get half off your first month on any Awesemo.com package. Try out Fantasy Cruncher Pro. And I'll be back again tomorrow with another Four Corners video, so good luck.